Join that group. Did I beat B?
You beat her.
Man, how does that happen?
As per usual.
Yeah, that's per usual. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I'm good. You look good.
Thanks, dude.
Oh.
I can't really see you, so I cannot comment, but.
Huh. You can't see me?
There we go.
What?
No, I mean, I can't see you well enough to say you look good or not. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, because the cameras.
Yeah, there you go.
$30 camera. So.
Yeah, there you go, man. Now I can see you.
Yeah, what does that do? It doesn't do anything.
It does something with the sound.
Oh, it does?
Hi,
Hey!
B!
It is I.
B!
It is me.
Baby.
Hey, before we get launching on the other stuff, I wanted to quick say for tomorrow is when we do the books and albums and stuff.
Yeah, what's the actual categories?
Yeah, what are you talking
Whatever
about?
I wrote down.
Okay.
Oh,
What
you
did I write
texted
down?
us. Yeah, yeah. Whatever you texted us.
Well, we can decide the categories. I just thought, like, I was thinking through stuff that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
I think albums is a good one. I think books are a good one, and then movies are good.
Albums, books, and movies.
Okay, but here's the trick to it. I think, or the twist. Our twist on it is I want to know which books you're most grateful for from the last year. So it doesn't have to be like books that were written last year, but ones that you connected with in the last year that you know, like that says it's This Week in Gratitude. The 3 books you're most grateful for from last year, or that you read in the last year. The 3 movies that you saw last year that you're most grateful for. The 3 albums like that.
All right.
So not necessarily your best ones, right?
Album.
Well, they might be the best ones. I don't know.
Can they be? This is a trick on that, but can they be like you read them not last year, read them beforehand, but they've been super impactful for what the year 2017 has brought?
Potentially, yes, that would work, I think. Yeah,
Get
I think
ready.
that would be.
Here's a hypothetical. If it's raining
Yeah.
and I'm wearing green boots.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Does that affect your favorite album? Certainly.
Movies. Got it. Okay. Okay. Who starts? What happened this time?
We'll basically do like a half hour on each of those tomorrow.
Okay.
I think that's probably the best way to do it.
What'd you say? Half an hour on each?
We're gonna do one each.
Yeah, half hour on books, half hour on movies, half hour on albums.
So we're an hour and a half tomorrow, starting at 8.
Is that right? That's what we normally do, right? 10?
Yeah, but let's start at 8 instead of 8:15 if we're gonna go an hour and a half.
I agree. Jason, are you good with that?
I have a meeting. What time?
Well, get done with your meeting, bro.
I also have something, but I think I can figure it out.
If we have to move it, that's
11.
okay.
Yeah, I think I'm done by 11. I think the meeting's at 9:30.
The other thing, we could just do one of those tomorrow, and then pick up the other 2 at a different time. That's fine if the schedule's too much.
No, let's nail it. Let's do it.
Because I have the same thing. I have a hard out at the end, so.
Okay,
yeah, I just have to be out by 9:30, an hour and a half after.
Which is exactly the same for me. So.
Okay.
Well, maybe we'll only get through 2. We'll just go as long as we can. We'll get through.
Yeah,
as much
we'll
as we
see what we can do.
We'll see what we feel like after we get through the second one. So.
Do you want to try for 7:30? What time is my meeting? My meeting's at 9:30.
No, they'll go any earlier for B. That's no good. She won't even be able. She's gonna be hard to talk to anyway.
I'm like really hard to talk to. Intimidating. I'm tired. I'm also sick. Hope you guys don't mind that I cough in your face
I don't think I can catch it.
and blow my nose and stuff. I sneezed this morning all over my phone, which is really gross.
That's super gross.
I just
Thanks
want you
for
to
sharing that with us.
a
Yeah,
glimpse into my world.
that's great.
Yeah.
You work with middle schoolers.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy weekend.
Jason, what are you doing, man?
Oh, what are you doing? I'm just waiting around.
But you didn't know I could whistle.
You guys are way more antsy when
But
we
you
do this
didn't
later
know I
in
could
the day.
whistle.
You got me, B. You got me.
I snowblowed my driveway twice already.
What?
Yeah, because we had people over.
Yikes.
Yikes. The yikes is right.
That seems
There's
crazy.
a lot of snow blowing. There's a lot of snow. It snows a lot here. There's a lot of snow.
Oh.
You see all the snow?
Wow, that's too much.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And we're supposed to get like 6 or 8 more inches tonight.
Tonight.
No, just
Tonight,
stay home. Don't leave.
Right now it's like, no, I'm at work. What do you mean? I don't know.
When it starts snowing, it's that hard.
Yeah. No, but I gotta go to the meeting tomorrow. But it might get called off. So then,
There you go. Cancel that meeting. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Hey, so
What do you know?
what's
Let's do
our
this.
order?
I have no idea. Who's the
Let
keeper
me-
of the order?
B usually writes it down.
Well, you haven't posted the last one.
I didn't post the last one yet. That's true.
Are you going to?
I think I will. Yeah.
I think I will.
I just got lazy.
No, it's okay, because that usually helps me, because I would have just listened to it, and I'd been like, well, it's not that.
Well, I know for sure it was. I did not pick last time. Who?
I think I picked, because I picked Chance
I think
the
that's
Rapper.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
think
picked a
that's
couple of mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
So
right.
Oh, yeah, I remember talking a lot. Not only did I have to get my last one, I had to pick, and then I had B-sides.
I
Too much.
picked the time. I picked the time before.
So that means I pick.
So Jason must have to pick this time.
And that means I go last.
Yeah.
So you go. Jason goes last and picks.
B intros.
Yeah,
that
B intros. That's right. B intros, and I go first.
Yes.
This is the catbird seat.
How's Jack Black just then? Okay. Okay. Guess what? I have 4 things, so I have to pick. Oh.
What?
Unbelievable. You
I
actually
might
wrote
just-
this down.
Yeah, I might just make one of them 2 things.
Kind of cheap.
Okay, so I intro, that means Greg starts. Number 1.
That's right.
Number 1. And then we'll go with Greg's suggestion for B-sides, because I thought of one or multiple. Do you remember what it was?
I remember what mine was, but you don't have to do it. If you have other B-sides, take a different one.
You think I have other B-sides?
Oh, you mean you thought of an answer to my question?
Yeah,
I see.
I
see.
got another
Yeah.
reason.
I thought of one.
Great.
I love it.
So
Okay.
excited.
Are
You know,
ready
the
for this?
purpose of the B-side was for you to come up with stuff.
Well,
As a
because
way-
I needed more time to think about an answer.
All right, you got a good one this time. This one's rock solid.
There it
Yeah.
is.
It's
All right,
pretty down. It's pretty down the middle.
down the middle, right down the
It's
middle.
pretty
I'll give
okay.
I'll give it a B.
I'll give it a
Good. That's what I was aiming for.
I'll give it a C. Give it a C.
B-sides. Get it? All right, hit it.
Hit it, B. You're up.
Okay, what do we say here? Okay.
First off, you know the name of the podcast, so that's gonna be important.
I know, but now I'm thinking of sneaking in one of my things into the intro. I think I might. Here we go. We'll see how it goes. See how
We'll
it
see how it
plays.
goes.
Give it
Yeah.
a full run. See how it plays. Okay. You are listening to This Week in Gratitude. We are 3 pastor friends who get together every once in a while, record our conversation, talk about what we're thankful for in the past week. We are Jason in Michigan, Greg in Texas, and me, Bianca, in Washington State. We're so glad that you're listening. Tell your friends to listen if you also like this podcast. And I'm going to throw out a new social media thing. It's not new, but I am featuring that we have a Twitter account, and it is at Week in Gratitude, and no one follows it. So it's made me feel very free. Every day I post Today in Gratitude, and I've been posting for the past few days, every day, something I'm grateful for in my life. And it's really helped because if you haven't noticed, it's hard for me to think of things a week out. And so this practice is forcing me to think of something, one for each day. And I would love to share the password with Greg and Jason so they can also chime in to their Today in hashtag Today in Gratitude. So check out, start following, or just like secretly watch from the sidelines at Week in Gratitude on Twitter.
At Week in Gratitude.
And it looks like Weeking Gratitude, but it's Week in Gratitude. That's
That's
it.
awesome, B. That's all. I didn't know that
Yeah.
existed. I mean, I knew it existed, but
I know.
But
Now
at
I'm
the same
actually
time.
using it. You
Add
guys
it to
can keep up.
I'm following it right now. I'm the first follower, B.
Yay! You can keep up with everything I'm grateful for at the end of the day.
This will help you, B, because now you have them all.
I
Now you have
know.
a
I
record.
know. It is just so multi-layered and
It's
like
so good. It's
setting
so good.
myself up for success in everything that I do.
No, this is great. This is great, B. There's turning a corner. It's not even the new year yet, but we've got a new B. That's
yeah, and
awesome.
now I just snuck in 4 things I'm grateful for. So
Boom.
there you
You
go.
got them all on there. That was
There you
great.
go.
Super impressive. Super impressive. Strong opening.
Thank
Strong
you.
opening.
And Greg goes first.
And I go first.
go
I've got mine
second.
right here. So my
Great.
first one is this is a general one, but I have a specific story for it, which is the general piece is I love it when people from out of town visit San Antonio. Or I guess even anywhere I live, but in San Antonio in particular, it's fun because there's so many restaurants and so many things to do. And so we had my cousin on my dad's side and her mom and then her whole family came. So they all came up for the last week or 10 days or so. And it was just so much fun having them here. So shout out to Mandy and Corey and their kids. It was just cool to kind of see San Antonio through their eyes and to see our lives through their eyes. And there's always an element of that we talk about, like with summer vacations and whatever else when you're hanging out with people, to have a chance to like, oh yeah, I guess you kind of get used to your life, so you don't realize some of the things that are crazy or some of the things that really work well or whatever it is. And so it's just super cool to be around those guys. And it was fun. I hadn't seen Mandy in a long time, and I only kind of a little bit remember her from when she was a kid, and so it was fun to see her like growing up and running her own family and all of that is awesome. So, so that was really cool. So that's my number one is seeing my family.
Family.
Do you sing the Barry Manilow song, Mandy?
I think she's named after that song.
So you got to sing it to her. She's probably never heard it before.
Yeah, nobody's ever done that to her before ever.
Brand new. That's
yeah,
awesome.
That's a can't hardly wait throwback. And yes, I also love when I get to be a visitor in my own city sometimes.
Yeah, it changes the feel of it, right?
And then the reverse of that, we went to, this didn't make my week of gratitude, but we went down and saw the Bardwells. Did you see that? We just last weekend, my wife has kind of bought into my adventures idea, and since we're not going to be buying the kids any like expensive gifts, or they didn't need much, so we wanted to have like a Christmas timey experience. So we went down to Chicago and saw well, just a slice of Chicago. You can't see all of Chicago in like a day or two or whatever, but we ran into Bardwell and that was fun.
So I knew you were going to Chicago because you told us that. Yeah. And then you sent me like pictures from the aquarium or whatever, or then I saw Instagram.
Because
everything I saw from the Bardwells was they were like in Taiwan or something.
Yeah.
Wait a second, how does this make any sense? Like,
no, yeah, he just posted because they had been on this long trip. Yeah. They went on a long trip, I don't know, to New Zealand or something. I forget where you were.
That's what it was. I don't know.
I wasn't listening really well. But my favorite part of the whole visit was Jenna and Elsie. Man, because Jenna's, I'm pretty sure she's a fictional person. Like, I don't know if anybody could be that sweet and that loving and like, just, I don't know. She's like a princess, like a Disney princess, only like, I don't know, who's crazy about Jesus and serving and stuff. So her and Elsie just clicked like twin sisters, and Elsie just was talking to her and they were just talking to each other's friends.
That's awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Greg, what's the number one place you take your guests for dinner in San Antonio?
Oh yeah.
Good question. So it depends on who they are, but if they're, I love Big Lou's, the pizza place. It's like the pizza place where you can get like a 68-inch pizza or something. So that one's awesome.
That's the Midwest side of you.
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
But then I really
don't even know how it tastes. It's just a lot.
How big is the food? Okay, I'll go there.
It's really good. That's a fun experience.
Yeah.
And then I love taking people to Chris Madrid's.
Oh yeah.
Because I love the food there too. And then Barbecue Station is my favorite barbecue place in town. So.
The one by your house.
Yeah. So those three are like my go-tos for people from out of town.
So
awesome.
Good food. San Antonio. So jealous.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't even hit Mexican food at all. So
I know. I thought you were going to say La Fagata.
Nah.
No. Okay, moving on. Okay, I really am going to move on.
I didn't mean to offend you by not picking up. I didn't know.
No, that's Jason's favorite. I think mine's
Jason.
Paloma Blanca.
No, mine's mine's what's that place?
Mirasol.
El Mirasol, or Sol Luna.
I don't like Paloma Blanca. It's so expensive, and it's the same Mexican food I can
That's
get for
what
half
I
that
like
price.
about it. It is not that expensive for good food. Like,
It's not that good though. It's like
El Mirasol is
but,
way better. I love that place.
Yeah,
I do like El
I'm gonna
Mirasol.
go with Jason on this one.
Well, for me, El Mirasol is just on the other side of town, so it was further.
Yeah.
That was like the number one knock against it. El Mirasol is good food for good price.
Yeah.
For sure. And good salsa.
If any of these places want to sponsor us, you're welcome to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will happily eat your food in exchange for money.
For advertisements.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm moving on. Last week, I went and saw my favorite comedian, Dimitri Martin.
Oh yeah.
He was in
In
town,
person?
and he killed. Guy still got it. I was
man.
dying laughing, and I didn't know it until we showed up, but it was being taped for his Netflix special.
What?
So
He's got
whenever
another one
it
coming up?
drops, it's the Seattle version of it at the Paramount. Wait, was it the
Oh,
Paramount?
that's awesome.
No, it was at the Moore. At the Moore. And
He
it
fairly
was
recently had a Netflix special, so this is like another new one.
really.
That's awesome.
Did he?
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything from him
Yeah,
in a
me
long
neither.
time.
it's been like maybe a year, maybe
Every
not quite
time
a
I
year.
see a Dreamcatcher, I just think of that joke.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of those one-liners that literally I saw him about a week ago, and I still think about these one-liners
Yeah,
from
he's got a
the
knack for
show,
that.
and I'm like, dang, how did he burrowed into my brain to be like, you're gonna think about this all the time now, even though
True.
they're just quick. I mean, he probably has 100 one-liners in the show, so it's gonna hit different ones will hit different people. But he's got a lot of material. It's all really hilarious. If you ever get a chance to see Dimitri Martin live, take it or just listen to him. I think he probably his albums are on Spotify or something. And then definitely this Netflix special.
Yeah, they're all
Did
findable.
did anybody catch him on Late Night with Stephen Colbert?
No.
Oh, it was a little while ago, but it was right after. Remember they did a Daily Show reunion thing or something like that.
They were both on Daily Show together. I know that.
I know, but no, they had a Daily Show reunion, and then like a week or two later, Dimitri Martin was on, and he's all, "Yeah, thanks for the invite, buddy." It was awesome.
He was the young person correspondent.
Yeah,
That's right.
for a long time. He was like almost as much time as Steven.
Yeah, he's got such a good he might be my favorite joke writer around.
Yeah.
He's very talented.
He's so good. The line I use from him all the time that's got to be one of my favorite go-tos is the worst time to have a heart attack is during a game of fake heart attack. It slays me every time.
That'll get you. That's one of those jokes you'll wake up giggling.
Yeah.
All right. My first one. My adventure's paid off. I texted yesterday, but I kind of ruined it. But I went on an adventure a couple weeks ago. I bought a turkey and I delivered it to Detroit Rescue Mission, which is 3 hours away. It's on the other side of the state for me. And then I took the receipt over to Third Man Records and traded that receipt for the donated turkey in for a 7-inch record. I got, I think it was an Otis Redding. No, it was Marvin Gaye. Because Jack White's re-releasing a bunch of this old R&B stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got called last night because I got this free record and you get entered into this raffle. And there's a box, I don't know, a couple hundred raffle tickets. And they're just those little things, those little raffle tickets, just my name and my phone number and a couple hundred of those things in the stinking box. And I drove over there with the deaf guy that was making Greg laugh. And
I didn't get it.
It took a while for Bianca to get it's a deaf person
now.
driving across the state to a record store.
I get it now.
and to make it even worse, I won headphones. So like the joke is even like slightly darker, slightly funnier, but also it's really nice wooden headphones. Whenever I drive, I think I'm driving over on Monday, but so then from then on out, we'll podcast. I'll have these wooden headphones on, and I also got a 12-inch single. That's a rare. The U2's new one, Blackout, like they had but this is a black and white vinyl. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice work, Jason.
I was like,
Nice work,
yeah, I don't win much, so I was just like,
I know you'd already won. The trip itself was a win.
And it
I know.
sounded like
Remember that
you
was the
were.
adventure. I think the
That was your
adventure
adventure.
was my top
It did.
things to be grateful for.
And now you won something from it. On top of it.
Yeah, crazy. The guy was blown away about how grateful I was.
The gift that keeps on giving.
He was like, seriously, they're just headphones. But I was like, man, that's a major award. Anyway, we've been watching Christmas.
It's not an award.
That's a major award.
Oh, jeez.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, what's the best thing you've ever won in a?
Oh man, I actually win a lot.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
one of those
you
people.
too
I
across
don't
the.
know why. Oh
went to
yeah,
Ireland,
I
right?
did win the Pearl Jam. Well, it was Eddie Vedder and Glenn Hansard. It was a
You won
lottery.
the right to buy those.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't like I got the tickets, but I mean, a lot of fans. Well, I guess I don't know how many fans, but I won that lottery. I don't know. See, this is why I don't like to be put on the spot with questions. I don't.
That's really
You're
funny.
right. I forgot our
This
podcast
podcast-
policy where I'm not allowed to ask you things.
You need a 2-week head notice on any request.
Or things where I have to remember.
My opinion.
If you wanted my opinion, I could give you it, but a remember one, I'm like, oh
Yeah.
gosh, do I have a life? Have I ever lived before?
Jason, have
I
you
feel
ever
like-
won anything better than headphones? Or is
No,
this the
that's
best thing you've
tops.
ever won?
I won a camping stove at an Army Navy, like a Army Navy raffle thing, like in college. I think
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I won a phone, a cordless phone.
So I have a theory about this, and I don't know. Maybe our panel here,
I have a theory too.
maybe our panel will directly weigh out into my theory. But I think there are people who never win them. I think there are people who win at a much higher rate than everybody else, and then I think there are just like normal people who, over the course of like 40 years, will win 2 or 3 things.
Yeah.
So I think B is on the far end of she wins them with a fair consistency. So she doesn't even, so much that she can't even remember all
I
this.
can't even remember one that I
Jason,
won.
I think you're right in the middle where I can say literally I have never won a raffle or a lottery of any kind.
This goes into my theory.
remember. Yeah, I just think I was in elementary school. I couldn't even win bingo when they like make it so that everybody wins bingo. I couldn't even win bingo.
The first time I won anything, I was on a date. We were up in Berkeley with Malia. I was dating Malia, and we were going to some special screening at the Berkeley like University Theater, and for some reason, when you're entered, like you're buying a ticket to a movie, entered you in this raffle for this phone for some reason, and we were late to the movie, and I'm explaining my theory. My theory is the weirder the last name, the more you win.
Thanks, Ray.
So I was.
That can't be right.
Yeah, because look at Quezada. It's got a Z in it, man. Boom. That puts it up a notch. Griffiths is a weird one, so I win a little more than usual. Richards? Are you kidding me? Like everybody's named Richards. Anyway,
That's interesting. But
I'm explaining this as the guy who's reading the raffle. He holds up the raffle and he goes, Jason because he has trouble reading my name. And like on cue, I yell out Griffiths, and he's all, yeah. Anyway, and I run this phone.
But my dilemma is my kid wins everything. Josh is just like me.
That blows a hole in my theory.
He's won like a bike at school. He's won like a tent. He gets entered into lotteries at different places. Like he wins. He's won soccer tickets. Like the kid wins all the time. He just is the luckiest.
Yeah, but you have to compare also to how many times those people are entering. Maybe the lucky ones, quote unquote, are just entering more raffles than the unlucky ones because they feel like they're unlucky. You gotta go
Potentially.
I don't know.
Like a huge
My buddy out in
sample size,
California is
like I win all the
speed.
time. I'm gonna keep entering. Well, then you're
It definitely encourages you to keep doing it if you keep
Mhm.
doing it. But
My buddy out in Randy, his name's Randy Spear out in California. He wins more than anybody I've ever known. And his is a pretty normal last name too. So both years blow a hole in my
sorry, man.
theory.
I hate to
That's
do
all right.
that. I hate to do that. That's,
I hate
I
to do that.
love to
You
just
actually
agree with your
love
theories.
Dude, you're ready for some Nerf war. There's a Nerf war behind Bianca.
That's one of my
That makes
tops.
me.
Yeah, that is
sorry.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go first, and then you can do yours. New book out by a guy named Father Gregory Boyle.
Oh yeah.
He wrote the book Tattoos on the Heart, which is a sort of life-altering book. If you ever read that book, it's amazing. His new book, Barking to the Choir, is phenomenal. Like, phenomenal book. He's the guy I read in my life right now who I'm not sure I agree with almost anything theologically, but you just come away from it and it's like, I can't argue with this guy at all. Like, he has such a crazy story and true story, and he loves people so well that you just kind of like, man, all right, this guy gets it. Like,
I'm
super challenging stuff.
I'm on the Greg Boyle train too. That guy's the man, and that's why that explains a lot. A buddy of mine, Reese, out in California, he's been throwing quotes like crazy. Father Greg Boyle on his Facebook thing. It must be from this new book.
Yeah.
What's the premise of the book?
What was that?
What's the premise? Like, what's the?
It's the same as Tattoos on the Heart. Like, it's he's essentially, it's like 20 years later or something, and so he's kind of filling us in on his ministry from the end of the last one to now.
And we talked about him when you went to. Remember that you went to a similar ministry that he has.
Recovery Cafe.
Yeah, Recovery. Yeah. He has Homeboy Cafe down in, but like Recovery Cafe, that's just a piece of it, right? Like,
yeah,
he does like the tattoo removals. He gets job placements.
So here's a quote that's one of like the fascinating ones to me from the book. He's talking like it's the first time, like, I think, because I read Tattoos on the Heart a while ago and a couple of times right away, but he has a chapter in this book where he's actually trying to explain a little bit about how he thinks about evil. Because one of the things that always gets lobbed at him is like, you're too nice to these guys, like you're getting taken advantage of, and you're not being honest about who they are or whatever. And so he kind of confronts that a little bit. But then so somebody asked him once, when do you bring up Jesus to gangbangers? And his response was, never and immediately. And his point was like, he goes, Jesus is already there. Like, Jesus is already working there. I don't have to bring Jesus into this. They bring me to Jesus. And it's such an interesting, like, he does that kind of stuff every once in a while where it just like, it hurts your head a little bit, but then it's like, no, it's got to be true. And it's so good. But anyway, I would super encourage the reading of that book by anybody. If you haven't read Tattoos on the Heart at this point in your life, you should absolutely do that. Tattoos on the Heart is one of like the most beautiful books I've ever read. Like, it's the one that you read and it's like, man, it just makes you want to cry in places, and it's so good. And this is like that too. It's just a ton of stories again, and he's weaving through kind of some theological reflection. But man, it's so good.
It's barking at the crowd. What is it?
Barking to the Choir.
Barking to the Choir. That's excellent. The quote that my buddy threw up is, God is in every kindness. Yeah. Think about that for a second. I don't know.
Yep.
Bam.
He's also, if you want a quick insight into his work, he's got a pretty good interview with NPR from like 2 weeks ago. That's like 20 minutes long, but it kind of gives you a sense of what he's about. So I'd encourage you to, if you just go NPR Greg Boyle, you'll find it.
And is it my turn or is it B? Where are we at?
It's my turn.
Okay, hit it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. I'm going to read those books. Okay, my next one, Jason already alluded to, but I have a lot of Nerf blasters in my office right now. Because on Friday we had Zombie Tag, which is essentially Nerf Blaster Wars in the church. And we had 185 kids come.
What?
I know, it was insane. It's always insane. Every time we do Zombie Tag, it's the most we've ever had. The last time we had 160. This time we had 188. And it's just a fun time for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders to run around. They invite their friends. That's how we have so many. They invite their friends to come. This time, about 40% of the crew were friends that were brought, which is awesome. That number is also increasing. And the volunteers help run it, and parents come and man the hallways, and it's just a really cool community event. I know it's it just sounds crazy, like what's the point, why would you do that? But It's a great time for everyone to come together. I always have to have a little talk at the beginning of the difference between like very real gun violence in our world and this fun game that we play. So we're very aware of the language that we use. You know, they're blasters, they're not guns, they're darts, they're not bullets, that kind of thing. And almost every single time something happens where I'm about to cancel it, but never do. This time was no different. I don't have to go into it, but you know, there's always this element of like, is this just like pure violence? Am I just like teaching violence in the church kind of? So it's definitely a conversation I have to have with myself every once in a while and my coworkers. But the event is so fun. It's very carefree. And we had a great time this year. No different. It was on Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of students, B.
Yeah, this is the
awesome.
remnant.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It also made me sick, which is why I keep coughing, because I lost my voice that night, and then all my defenses were low, and I got sick on Saturday, Sunday. What's today? Wednesday. I've been sick this whole time. It's worth it for the kiddos.
And I think it's necessary for like students these days to have fun and let down guards and just be kids. Like like my call before this was the youth guy up in San Marino, and it was the same way. Whenever we played Gorkin, it was kind of like a.
Oh yeah, you told me about that game.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's similar to your zombie tag, but and it would always bring out the crowds, and it was always I think it's so fun that to have fun with followers of Jesus, you know, like just the life, like the electric, you know, like abundant life.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's awesome. I wish I was there just to shoot some of the kids too.
You tag the kids. You don't shoot the kids.
Yeah. All right.
That's okay.
Go.
That's it. We just we're very clear on the language, and the kids like to call out the adults too when they get it wrong. So we just kind of help each other out, just so we know the difference between actual violence. I know it's a bit big of an eye roll, especially coming from liberal Seattle, but it's necessary, or else we wouldn't have zombie tag. So,
it's true.
Gotta stick with the vocab. Gotta have the talk about, you know, weapons into gardening tools. This is the kingdom we're working for, not toward violence. We're peacemakers. And then we go out and have some fun. And it's 5 hours.
Holy smokes!
5 hours?
It's 5.5 hours of just them running around. And they love it. And they're exhausted. And their parents always say they sleep so hard they don't get up till like
I bet.
super late on Saturday. So anyway, I'm very grateful for
5 hours of zombie tag.
And letting this happen. And
that feels like a lot.
It feels like an endurance thing. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, but think of all the energy that middle schoolers have.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So anyway,
the energy I don't have.
Energy I fake twice a week.
Sorry if this dips into like serious. You might have to edit this out later, but just ever since the Vegas shooting, that's changed the conversation around the Griffiths house. Like it's interesting just because we went skeet shooting like when we first got here, and there's guns everywhere, Michigan and like Wisconsin, all this place, and everybody's, you know, properly use them. They all have gun safes and they all have all this stuff. But after because we had a couple congregants that were in Vegas at the Vegas shooting, and they saw some of the fallout, like, and the dad and the special needs, they got separated. One was in the hotel that was in that same courtyard, the wife and the older son, and then the dad and the younger son were scheduled to go on a helicopter ride, and they were picked up in a limo right as the shooting started happening. They brought them to the airfield, which is right next to the airport, which is, you know, like which is right next to the hotel. And so then everybody was running, and then a lady that had been shot through the arm ended up showing up. And my buddy is a first responder. He's like the special needs son, the younger son, had a seizure and it was just all kinds of crazy. And they were separated for over 12 hours, you know, because they wouldn't let people back into the city. It was a pain because they were just getting everyone out. Anywho, it's just brought up a whole, you know, like, I don't even know, because my kid has a million Nerf guns, and my kid we play all this stuff all the time, and then I don't know, it's just dipping into if using something, I don't know, like having any part in promoting something that has even the slightest possibility of that end, it makes me rethink, like, ever shooting Nerf guns. It makes me rethink all that stuff. You know,
this is me every zombie tag, Jason.
I would imagine.
I inherited this. I didn't make this up. I inherited it, so it's not. I just made it better. But if I had it my way, I would get rid of it.
They can kill much more efficiently now than when I took over.
No, oh gosh, now you guys.
No, because don't get me wrong.
I take this very seriously, and I would love to cancel it. And we don't kill each other.
But it's like I'm just torn. I want you to let you know. Like I want any insight that. What do you have, Greg? Like, what's your take? I want to hear your take. I love it.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you too. Are you like extreme pacifist? You don't go in the same room?
Yeah, we don't do it at all. My kids wouldn't go.
Yeah, families don't also choose not to come.
But I don't like. I'm sympathetic to your plight, B. Because like as a youth minister, the number of times you get asked to go play laser tag or something, or like I've had to have my kids not go to birthday parties and things like that. So, or they'll go and not do the laser tag part, and they just sit and wait for the other guys.
How did you get to that? Being military brat and Wisconsin, and like everything about you, you even have a beard. You're like,
No, it's fair.
You look like a shotgun owner. Like I would purchase a shotgun from someone who looks like you.
Yeah. So the internal thing for me is, like, I grew up playing with guns. Like, my dad was a Marine. I was on military bases my whole life. I was around guns. So guns on the surface don't really bother me. Like I don't mind that people have them. I don't tell Christians they can't own guns, things like that. But for me personally, like when I've gone shooting growing up, I don't like anything that I could accidentally kill somebody with.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. So like I get nervous. Like I don't like driving cars for the same reason, because it's just so much power in like one little thing.
And timeline wise, like how old were you when you first started realizing this stuff?
I knew I was not comfortable having a gun when I was like 9 or 10 probably. But in college and then grad school in particular, I started to get the theological language for why it was troubling me. And so I had a buddy in college named Neil who asked me once, like we were talking about laser tag for something or whatever, and he goes, and it was during a bunch of civil wars and stuff in Europe, and he goes, "Do you think the kids in Bosnia play laser tag?" And like his point was, if you live in a war-torn country, guns aren't fun like that. Like they're just not they're not toys that way, and that one always stuck with me. And then I started reading like John Howard Yoder and Hal Rust and those guys. And it's like, I don't think that's the gospel. Now, having said all of that, I don't think 300-pound guys throwing themselves into each other to tackle a guy with a ball is the gospel either, but I watch football every Sunday, right? So I'm not, I'm not radically consistent on this. But the guns has been like, and I love a good violent movie, maybe more than the next guy. So I don't know. So I'm all over the map on it, and that's why I want to be really careful not to like beat Bianca up about this one.
No, it's okay. I've been here for 5 years. We do it twice a year.
And she obviously like struggles with it. And for me, I struggled with it and came out, I'm just not going to do it. It was easier for me to just tell everybody, no, this is a stance I've taken with my kids. It's a stance I've taken with the youth group. You guys can go play laser tag if you want, but it's not going to be a youth event. It's kind of the same thing I do with ski trips, to be honest. It was like, I can raise money for things, but I'm not going to raise money for ski trips. If you want to raise money for a mission trip, that's one thing, but not to go skiing and not to go play laser tag. So that was that was just where I ended up drawing the line. And it's arbitrary as much as anything else, right? Like, water guns, for example, are a lot of fun, and there's, and they're just as violent or simulated violent as Nerf guns. But whatever. I don't know. Like we don't have video games in our house that have shooting in them. With the exception of, I think we have one Star Wars game that has like blasters. So that's kind of my.
I don't mean to take up all our time. Thanks, dude. That was super insightful. I dig you.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. Who's next? Do I go next?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think my next one is. It's kind of. I always have to have one that's kind of like nebulous. I don't even. Okay, I guess it's just snow. Maybe snow. Maybe snow day.
Oh, not the rapper, man. All right.
No, no. I love. I dig the transformative nature of snow, of how it just transforms the world into something different.
Yeah.
But I think I've experienced snow on the East Coast, and I've experienced snow I had a freezing down in San Antonio, which remember the Arctic frost that was crazy. And then I went up to the mountains in California and I experienced snow that way. Midwestern snow is different. I think it brings out people better. Like it brings out it brings out, there's a couple qualities that just rise to the surface. First of all, there's like this free for all nature that I love. Like it's like an exploratory. If your car can make it somewhere, you can drive there.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if it's paved or if it's someone else's lawn. You're like they just drive wherever they could, if they need to get somewhere. And it's kind of like a free for all, like whatever. And the second part is like the people, like normally they're the worst drivers in the world. I think they drive really close to one another. Like they just ride each other's bumpers and they're just kind of crazy and jerky. But when it starts snowing, everybody's there kind of to help one another. Like, like I've seen like 2 or 3 people when somebody starts to is stuck.
Yep.
They just pull over their car or big truck and help them out. And also, there's people, they snow blow for one another. Like there's a bunch of people that I know that they're on the younger side of the spectrum. They take care of their neighbors. They take care of their aunts and their uncles, there's like a unspoken, if you're young enough to shovel or snow blow, you do it for people that can't,
Yeah.
So there's it's a neat little snapshot, and it definitely did not exist in Jersey. In Southern California, it was a different ball game. They just throw chains on their tires. That's the other thing that they're weird about. But so the snow and just the winter, and I like the Midwestern reaction to snow.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's true. We had snow in San Antonio last week.
I know. I saw that.
Real actual snow, like make a snowman snow. Crazy. So
That's awesome.
That was a highlight for me too, Jason. But yeah, that's interesting. You know what? Like when you think of freedom, when you think of snow, my wife gets claustrophobic when it snows.
Weird.
Because everything's open, but you can't go anywhere. There's nothing there. It's like everything's the same. It's kind of interesting. I don't know, but I know what you mean by the freedom of snow. Like there is that element of, if you can get there, you can get there.
Yeah. If you get stuck though, you're kind of stuck. I took my Prius on this road that goes right next to Lake Michigan. And that thing handled it like a champ, but it hadn't been plowed. There wasn't a single salt thing on there. There was like a couple of inches in there. It was awesome.
Man, that's tough stuff, dude.
It was.
I hate the driving in snow. I don't miss that at all.
I actually like it, but I just go wicked slow, and I go actually. Yeah, it's fun. Anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, am I up next?
I believe you are.
All right, then I had this crazy idea a couple months ago that it would be fun to do an outreach event at UTSA. That basically we would make a bunch of Christmas cookies and then let students decorate those Christmas cookies like the last week of school. And so I came up with this idea. I ran it by Allie. I'm like, what do you think? She goes, I think that could probably be all right. So we got talking about it. We planned it out. We worked through it. Last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, we like got all the supplies and we made like 600 cookies. Some crazy number like that, like 600 cookies. And then it was like the day before the snow came. It got really cold. It was rainy. It was nasty. And we went back and forth and like, do we really want to do this? Do we really want to do this? And I said, let's just do it. We made all those cookies. We got out there. We kind of powered through. We got set up. We gave away 600 cookies in like 45 minutes.
Nah.
It was nuts. And it was like the best outreach event we've probably ever done. It was just crazy. The students just rallied around it and they were so excited. And it was just a chance to meet so many students that we'd never met. And I don't know, it was just awesome. Like it ended up being really good, but it was one of those, it's one of the highlights of my semester because it was it was just like a crazy idea that seemed like it made sense, but you just didn't know for sure. And then we did it and it worked great. And it was just awesome. And it was so much fun to see students like at the end of their semester taking a deep breath and saying, oh, thank you so much. This is a huge blessing. And being able to kind of rally for their tests and all that. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. That was a blast. Allie like totally pulled it off like a champ. Like she figured out how to make all the cookies, and not surprisingly, we had students from other campuses help like shape them and cut them and get them ready to go. It ended up being awesome. So
did you ice them, or they're more like chocolate chip cookies?
No, they were the kind that you put icing on, but we let the students put the icing on.
And then they got.
So we brought all the frosting, and they decorated their own and then ate it. So
that's awesome. 600, geez.
Yeah, it went quick. And I was like, man, we could have easily had like twice that many and been fine. So we ended up talking like 1,000.
We talk a lot about, like, as pastors, like those things that feed our soul, and this is one of them. Is when an idea just like simple. Sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's just kind of stupid, yep. But then it snowballs and it ends up just working.
Yeah.
And opens other doors, and it's like the fruit is exponential. Like it's just I love those moments.
Yep. That's exactly
awesome. We had a similar one because I just met with the pastors yesterday. Because when I first arrived here, we do a combined service because Conwisher, remember Conwisher would always on Martin Luther King Jr. Sunday, it started as a pulpit swap with an African American church, but then he would do a unity service. Well, I think he did it in Jersey. I don't know if he did it in San Antonio or California. Anyway, I stole that idea, and so I got together with the Presbyterian brother and then African American Baptist dude, Andre and Jim. And the first year we did it at the Presbyterian church, and it was like a little smoldering fire. It was cool, but we met yesterday in planning for this year's, and we added to that a Good Friday service, and so we do Good Friday together too, just nice. Randomly. It's pretty fresh, but this is the first year that we're going to go into the Heights. So it's the bad part of where the African American church is New Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church. That's the name of the church that we're going in, and it's ridiculous. I love that. I love that we're going to be doing it. And then it snowballed, and so now it's going to bleed over into a lunch together, nice. And then like a prayer scavenger hunt thing. The families are going to break up and have lunch with a family they don't know, go out to lunch with them. And then after that, go to a place in town like City Hall or wherever and just pray over it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's all because, like the simple idea, let's get together. And then
Jim I love it.
It's not really working with us just worshiping together because we're not really getting to know each other. We got to serve it anyway. I just like it I like it when those things snowball.
For sure. I love that.
Lee, what was your last one of those snowballers?
I remember we had a good idea to give away we bought mugs for the fire in San Antonio, and then we filled them with candy.
Oh,
and then people had to give us their email addresses for the raffle, and then we had their email for the ministry.
Yeah.
And then we gave away three people won, even though 100 people entered to want to win these water bottles with candy. And then we had 100 emails, and that was such a good idea.
That was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure I've done some stuff here. I can't be put on the spot like that. So
Yeah, there's no way she can be asked to remember. You broke the rule, Jason. We can't ask her questions.
about my memory. Yeah, I'm sure I've thought of some
So many
stuff.
things to love about B. I love you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
All right,
my
B, what's
turn?
your number 3?
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't write down Greg's. What was yours? Yours is the cookie bake off.
Yep.
Okay, this is my last one. Last night we gathered all the youth volunteers for middle school and high school, and we did an appreciation Christmas party for them. So, maybe this was one of the ideas actually, Jay. So a family volunteered their house, this gorgeous house. Oh my gosh. And brought and then other families brought the food and the like the cheese and crackers and stuff. They brought food enough for everyone to have dinner there. And then we did a white elephant exchange. We sang together, and it was just an awesome time to have the middle school and high school volunteers together. A lot of the high school volunteers used to be middle school volunteers because they move up with their kiddos. So it's good to like spend time with my old volunteers again, and just let them know that they're appreciated and loved. And we had written them all cards earlier, and honestly could not, I know I say this a lot, but I could not do this ministry without this many volunteers and them being so committed. And this is, the way that they give back to the kingdom of God is to spend time and to really care for a bunch of kind of smelly, awkward middle schoolers in their life. But I just so appreciate them and wanted them to know that. So through them, and it's also a lot of their finals weeks. So it was just a good time to like kind of breathe and be together, have families involved in their way. And it was just a lot of fun. And I posted some pictures on the Twitter handle that I just said earlier, so you can see us all kind of gathered around. And I'm just very grateful for them. So there's no way that it wasn't going to make my top 3. But yeah, so the volunteers, I'll call out my volunteers for the middle school ministry, but anyone who volunteers for their church or for a ministry they feel really passionate about, I just think you guys are awesome. And
Amen.
and keep doing that. So
Agreed.
yeah, that's my
Nice.
Christmas party last night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you do anything special for your Christmas parties, like food-wise or anything?
No, we had the parents bring in. We asked some parents to make some stuff. So we had like 6 families bring a dish, like an entree. Is that what it is? Yeah. And so it was just kind of like mac and cheese and little enchiladas and pasta. And so everyone just got to dish up. And a lot of our volunteers are college students, and so they just don't get home cooked meals as often. And so that was really special for them. Yeah, so that's how we
Nice.
got around that.
Dude, you just rattled loose. One of the things I appreciate about us checking in together once a week or thereabouts is sometimes there's things I can't share anywhere else. This is one of those things, because you said, what do you usually do? I used to do for staff Christmas parties or just Christmas parties in general. I was in charge of ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah, you told us this.
But I can't say this. I can't say this anywhere else. But in the Midwest, that doesn't work because every sweater's ugly.
Oh, God.
Like it doesn't
They don't
work.
get it.
I tried it with the ugly Christmas sweaters, and everybody was just like, "What does that mean?" Like that Sunday, like the sweater you wore last Sunday, you can wear that and win.
The one you're wearing now. Yeah.
I don't know. Anywho.
That's good.
All right, Jason, bring us home, man. What's your last one?
All right, this is the last one. You didn't do anything? Did you already do your third?
Yeah, mine was the cookies.
Bake off.
I'm lost in the shuffle.
That's
My
how it
fourth,
happens.
my third. I don't have you fourth. My third is Winter Wonderland. It's an album by Sarah McLachlan. It's a.
Oh my goodness.
Go 90s.
This is you hate Sarah McLachlan and you hate Christmas music, so that's a
This is
double.
right in my wheelhouse.
It's just
All
solid.
we need is her shooting guns, and we'll
She's
have
solid.
the
I think
trifecta.
I think it came out last year or this year. It's either 2016 or 2017. And it's like I think it's her second or third Christmas album. So they've gotten better and better. But
Oh, I'm sure.
I just love it. I really love it. She does a wicked good version of all of them. But one of them, Emmylou Harris sings with her, and it sounds
cool.
beautiful. Anywho, Winter Wonderland by Sarah McLachlan. Christmas. I know you hate Christmas music. B, do you have this is a question. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite Christmas album?
Yeah, well, we listened to Charlie Brown Christmas at Thanksgiving and at Christmas. Yeah. So nice. I love that record. It like literally as soon as it starts, I'm 4 years old again. It's crazy. It's nuts. And then I really like the Sufjan albums. I know that's super cliche, but those get me in the spirit of Christmas. And I went to the college ministry last Tuesday, I think, to just get some volunteers. And it was a pure Christmas music worship night. And so that, and they kind of put it like a millennial spin on it. I was like, ooh, this is cool. And that's when I started. I hadn't started listening to Christmas music until last Tuesday. And then I got into the Sufjan, and there's a bunch of Spotify playlists and stuff too. So I'm into it, but I like the more like, if it's not one I listened to when I was a kid and I want to hear it again, I'm not into like your new version of it unless it's like a hipster millennial with the ukulele and like a weird weird take on it, that I'm into it.
All right, I'll throw out one. I got two, Jason.
What?
Much to your surprise.
You don't even like Christmas music.
I know. I'm still gonna do it. Okay. One is my buddy from college, Mark Martell. He's like super famous. He's traveling with like K-Love right now, doing concerts with Stephen Curtis Chapman and him and whatever. Anyway, he's got a Christmas album out, and that dude's ridiculous. Mark Martell.
Mark Martell. Okay.
You'll find him online. He's the guy. He won. Remember they had like this contest to find the replacement for Freddie Mercury for Queen.
Oh yeah.
He's the guy who won that. He's ridiculous. So he's crazy. He's crazy gifted. Anyway. This will give me a chance to tell him I gave him a shout out on the podcast. So, listen to like if you are into like Christmas music at all, he's got like a 6 or 8 song album. That's it's just him singing, but it's amazing. And then the other one is my old favorite musician, Bill Maloney, has an album called Yonder Shines the Infant Light, and that's a really more of an Advent-y album. He says it's a Christmas album, but I disagree with him. But it's still good. It'll help to get you in the mood.
Nice.
So there you go.
There you go.
That's really the only one I listen to. So
I'll pick out 5 real quick because I think we're running long.
Yeah, do it.
I'll do number 1, Zombie War, 188 kids. That's awesome. Zombie Tag, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Zombie Tag, you're it. Barking at the Choir, Father Greg Boyle, number 2.
Nice.
Visitors Transforming Your Town. I love it. I love it when they roll into town and open your eyes to the way you're at. And then 4 is a combination UTSA and Nice House Christmas Party. Just the snowballing of simple ideas that end in just fun and glory. That's awesome. And then 5, I have to throw mine, Midwestern Snow. Just how transformative again. Just snowing again.
Nice.
Boom.
All right.
B-sides.
Thank you, Jason. Oh yeah, here we go. B-sides. Cue that music. Okay, this is Greg's question, but I'll ask it if you want me to. So
even if we don't want you to, it'll still be good.
Here I go. I will say it. So Greg wanted to know if we could have anyone else's voice, whose voice would we want? And Greg, do you want to go first since you're the one that thought of it? You might already have some ideas.
Yeah, no. So there's a couple of factors for me when I was trying to figure out what would be a good answer to this question. Like, one, I have to have like a normal enough speaking voice. Like for me, I don't want to have like John Wayne's voice or something. Like it's distinctive, but I don't want that. And then because I can't sing, I thought it'd be cool to have somebody's voice who could sing.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking singing voice.
Yeah,
I was thinking talking voice.
I know. No, it works both ways though. It's kind of like, so who's got a voice that's normal enough, but then can also really sing? And so for me, my first, like, I don't know if it's my number 1, but like for sure top 3 for me is Paul Simon. I got thinking about he's like a really normal speaking voice, but he's got like a killer singing voice. It's recognizable.
I wish
It's
this
always
was
smooth sounding.
I wish this was a video podcast just to see Bianca's face right there. It's like somebody punched her with a lemon.
No,
Yeah,
I was
face.
very surprised to hear you say that. It
That
was
is
more
a
of
surprise. That's out of left field. Paul
That's why I did it. That's why I didn't want to give you like I didn't want to give you like a standard.
Yeah,
I don't know what, but
Yeah. The standard answer to whose voice would you want that everyone always gets asked.
no. But I
There's
don't know. Like
question.
I feel like Paul Simon gets shortchanged in all of these discussions about
voice.
like greatest songwriters, greatest musicians,
yeah.
vocalists, whatever. And it's like that guy's like I was just listening to Paul Simon's greatest hits recently. It's like, man, he wrote like 30 or 40 just ridiculously good songs.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
See, I jumped straight to singing. So I was thinking about singing.
Yeah.
And then so now I backtracked. Can I go next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, if
Bono's on the list for me too, by the way. But
if I was singing, no, I'm just gonna do the one. Okay,
Okay.
just I'm
Good combo.
going back. Seth MacFarlane.
oh, that's a good one. That's super
That is-
good.
He actually does
Yeah.
sing. He sings
Yeah,
and
he's
I
a
know,
crazy
he
good
sings.
singer.
He
He's a
sings
crazy good
amazing.
singer.
But his
Yeah,
voice is
that's a good.
so
He's got an
tough.
awesome voice. He's got an awesome
Greg's
voice.
so
is
jealous of
crazy.
your choice.
Dang,
right
that's
now.
such a good answer,
Oh,
Jason.
he's
That's
so
such a good
jealous.
answer.
Look at that.
I'm
Jealousy.
gonna lose B-side on a question I came up with.
Yes, how did you not?
How can I lose B-side? There's no losing in B-sides, right?
Oh, there is. Oh, here's we can go next level on this question, B. What if you had to go?
You just want to win.
What if you had to go cross gender?
I know,
So
I
you
thought that too.
Yeah, so
I
you
thought
couldn't.
of that.
So Jason and I couldn't pick guys.
Yeah, so I'll
we had
pick
to
my
pick a
girl
woman's
one while
voice.
you think of your girl one. So I was thinking cartoons, guys. I was not even thinking singing. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
who has a great cartoon voice? And so, although she's older and her voice sounds older, it's so distinct. I would want Lucille Bluth's voice because she's also Mallory on Archer.
Oh,
And so it's just so distinct. You hear her anywhere, and you're like, "Oh, there's Lucille." And so
Yeah,
I just
that's
want
good.
like that distinct voice. And if I
That's
was thinking
cool.
of someone younger, it would be Mae Whitman. She's an actress. She's in Parenthood. She's Amber in Parenthood.
Oh, she's got a really good voice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she does voice. Like she does cartoon
Yeah.
characters
Yeah.
too. So she's really good at the emphasis, even if you can't see her. She's just a good actor, even just with her voice. So I was thinking speaking voice, and mine would be Lucille. I don't know her actual name, and Mae Whitman. That is her actual name. But I'll think of a guy one now if you guys have girl ones.
I think I would go with Nina Simone for my
Singing voice again.
Yeah, but she's got an awesome speaking voice too. If you ever like,
Yeah.
she
I
talks
saw
between
that
songs.
documentary.
and
Yeah,
she's got a
yeah.
really crazy talking voice too.
Yeah.
I would go. It's so hard. 'Cause I like the raspy. I would either go with Stevie Nicks or Pretenders girl. What's that girl's name? Singer of the Pretenders?
Pat
No
Benatar.
idea.
No, not
No, what's her
not-
name? Her name is
Hit me with your best shot. I like that song
everyone's
too,
like
though.
screaming it if they're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, everybody's like, "You guys dropped the ball."
I know
yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Because Tig Notaro talks about her all the time.
I would pick
her-
one of those two.
Name
I like
is
Stevie
Chrissy
Nicks. I
Hynde.
like her
Chrissy Hynde.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh
Chrissy
yeah.
Hynde or
Um,
Stevie Nicks. And if I had to, if you have to build me down to one, it would be probably Stevie Nicks.
I can see that.
I'm not even.
I
gonna
was
pick
thinking of like Robin Williams or somebody like that has like so many voices in their
good
voice. Would be kind of fun
ranges.
too.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a silly voice.
Could be.
My guy one is, once again, I'm not going singing because I don't really care that much about being a good singer, obviously. But the Mariners have started a podcast where the general manager DePoto sits down with our broadcaster Aaron Goldsmith and just talks about the Mariners and trades and stuff like that. And just I listened to Goldsmith on the radio, but hearing him on a podcast, that guy's voice is like, it's like butter. I just can't handle like he shows
Like
the
butter.
exact right like position for himself to be like on air all the time. So of course I listen to podcasts to get some insider info on the Mariners, but like maybe 51% is just to listen to Aaron Goldsmith on the off season. And man, anyway, so I would want Aaron Goldsmith's voice because I'm sure he gets stopped all the time, just like in his daily life. If he's just talking to someone, I'm sure people are like, "Wow, your voice is like powerful and like smooth and whatever." So if you get a chance to listen to Aaron Goldsmith's voice, I would want his voice just because
you reminded me of another guy that I would pick.
Yeah,
me too.
Hank Azaria. I love Hank Azaria.
For the same kind of Robin Williams reason, though. Too,
like he can do all kinds of stuff, but his voice is just awesome. And when he does like sportscaster voice, it's just money.
I don't know his name, but the guy from Deadwood.
Oh,
that guy. I don't know what he sings like.
Timothy Oliphant.
That he's the main guy from the show Deadwood.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's in Justified too. That's a really good show.
Yeah,
he's got a good voice. He's got a good. His is like a really
voice, though? I don't really think about his voice when I think of him.
Thinking about how good he looks.
I think very good.
No, I'm not thinking of the same guy. I don't think he's old.
Are you thinking of Ian McShane?
Yeah, Ian McShane.
The other guy. Yeah.
That guy's got a cool voice too.
That guy's voice is
yeah.
Oh yeah, accents. I didn't even think about that. I only choose Americans. Thank you very much.
No, well, that's our
You're very patriotic that way, B.
Gratitude. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tell your ma, tell your pa, tell everybody. Ooh ah, ooh ah.
Okay.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll see you later.
Yeehaw.
All right.
Yeehaw.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.